everyone, it's Mari Clark here, and thank you so much for joining Kelly Barron and I for another episode of Scrap the Challenge this week. And today, February 12th, Kelly and I have challenged ourselves to do a scrapbooking layout using the color wheel or with the color wheel in mind. And we would really love it if you joined us in our challenges every time we do one of these videos. And definitely leave a comment if you have tried out the challenge and you have some thoughts, or you have some ideas to share, and so on and so forth. We would love to hear from you and find out your thoughts about the challenge that we're working on for the week. So the challenge for this week is the color wheel and trying to pick colors for your layout. And one of the things that I find really helps me is this color coach from Stampin' Up. I don't know if they still sell this. I'm not sure. I did go in their catalog and I couldn't see it, but I have to tell you, I didn't look on every single page of the book. So you can check that out and see if they do still have this. This is an older one, and so I mean, some of these colors may not still have them. I'm not really sure. But what I really love about this little booklet, and it's something it's really basic if you have some questions about color and design and how to incorporate color into your layout and so on, or into any of your crafty projects that you're working on. This actually just gives a really great explanation of color principles. It talks about the 4 qualities of color: hue, value, temperature, and saturation. There's a really great graphic here showing the color wheel, the primary, secondary, and tertiary colors. There's a little graphic here that shows you the complementary colors that are across from each other on the color wheel, and the analogous colors, which are beside each other, and then monochromatic color schemes, which are color schemes from the same family. Neutral colors. And then these cards are fantastic because what they have are a whole bunch of color schemes on the other side. So one way that you can pick the colors for your layout is using the color wheel and the principles of color. You can also, you can use your own, obviously your own judgment, which I think most of us do. We pick colors that we like. We pick colors that go together well in our own minds, and we sometimes scrap the rules of the color wheel. And that's fine too. It's kind of whatever makes sense to you, right? And whatever, I guess, looks good to you. But this is one way that you can organize your layout as far as your color scheme goes. What I usually do with my layouts is I always look at my photograph first. And if I'm going to be scrapping something and I want to use a specific line of papers, and I pick a picture that I want to scrap, there's a story that I want to tell and document with the picture, and I know that I don't necessarily want to work with the colors that are dominant in the photograph, what I'll do is I will print my photo in black and white, and then of course you can just kind of like incorporate whatever colors you want that you're not so worried about clashing with the colors from the photo. So this is the photo that I'm going to be using, and I first of all, I love this picture of the kids. It's just funny. That look on her face is hilarious. And I love the clothes that they're wearing. I used to sell Please Mom clothing when my kids were little, and so they had really great clothes. And the colors, well, the clothing was super practical and comfortable, but the colors were so much fun. I loved them. And the picture here has just a really great combo of colors here, with Jordan wearing this really bright yellow, and Bailey's got this, robin's egg blue or aqua kind of a color going on here with a denim vest. And so this is a great color combination, right? So when I was thinking about the color scheme for the layout, of course, I immediately thought, okay, well, these are great colors together, right? Because a blue-green color is, it's from the same, it's created really from the same primary colors, being yellow and blue. So these colors go together very well. And so then I was thinking, okay, well, now I want to create a complement to that, a third color to bring in case I don't want to just stick with those. And so I was looking at the wallpaper behind there, and you can see that there's a little bit of pink in there. And I'm thinking, you know, I have so much pink in my stash, it would be okay to bring in some pink in this layout as well. So when I was going back to the color coach, I found the card with the pink and the yellow and the turquoise, which is perfect for this, right? It looks really great together. So now that I kind of have that established and what my colors are going to be, I can go into my stash and start to take a look at what I have for papers and embellishments that I can use. And those are some pretty common colors that are pretty popular. So I'm pretty confident that I'm going to find a million different options here. So I just pulled out some stickers and some all kinds of different things that I might be able to use. And now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go through, I'm going to find some things in this 6x6 pad from the Wonder Collection from Crepe Paper. I'm going to check out, the Maggie Holmes Bloom Collection, because I knew that there was some great yellows in this 6x6 that I can use. And I know there's, this yellow gingham one was the one that I was thinking of. That's a really fun pattern for a child's layout too. This is great. It's got all the colors, the yellow and the blue and the pink. And so I'm going to have some great options here. I pulled these two pattern papers out that are the yellow and the blue that look nice here. You can see how that would work really well. And I'm going to go through this Crepe Paper Wonder Collection 12x12 because these papers are quite whimsical and fun for a children's layout. And I'm going to go through that and see, what I can find that's going to work together as well. Like, for example, this one. It's pretty awesome, right? It's got some yellows and it has some pinks. So there's going to be some great options here with a lot of these different papers. And then I thought, well, I'll just pull out one more pad and see if I can find anything in there. This is the memorandum that I got in that hot buy at Michael's. I think this was 10 bucks or something like that. It was cheap. And I knew that there were some of these colors in there as well. So, that would work. This would work. There's a whole bunch of cut aparts on here that would work. This is perfect, and it brings in a gray tone, which is a neutral, that you could bring in. This is cute. This little element here is really sweet. So there's going to be quite a few options there. This would work. This isn't bad. That would work. If you wanted to bring in a pattern with or a paper with some really nice pattern and texture on it. A dot would work for a neutral. Some more cut aparts that I could find some options from there. I don't like that as much for this one. This would be perfect. I love that. Be a good option. This would be great. This would be fine. It's a gray. This would be perfect. It's got a little bit of mauve in there. So that would be the only thing that I wouldn't like about that one. So anyways, I think you get the idea that that's kind of the driving force between the things that I'm going to pick today to work on for this challenge and working on creating that color scheme for this layout. Okay, so I'm going to see you back in just a couple seconds, and I'm going to speed up the speed of the video here while I'm creating the layout. See you in a minute. Okay, so I'll kind of show you what I came up with so far. So I tried just looking at a white, starting off with a white background, and then doing some different things on top of that. And then I thought, well, how about a grid background? So originally I started off with this yellow, and then I thought, well, maybe I'll work in these stars. And then I'm like, no, that's too much going on, right? It's too busy. And even this is, I don't know, it seems like a lot, but maybe that's just me. And I do really like this. I love this. This is a Dear Lizzie documentary. It's Snail Mail is the title of this one, and I love this paper. But then I went through and I picked this out of the pink paisley pad, and I love this paper. It's one of my favorite papers from 2015 for sure. I don't know. I love anything that's got that text in the background. I just love that extra detail. So then I thought, well, that text, faint text, is kind of neat with this yellow polka dot that's got the faint text in it. I love that combination. And then I really loved this from the Maggie Holmes Bloom 6x6 pad, because it's also got some words on it for layering with my photograph. So that's kind of where, that's the basis so far for picking my colors. And I have some other things that I need to work in. So, okay, now I'm going to speed her up. Okay, so I'm going to start to work on my photo layers here. And I'm going to start with this pink Crepe Paper Wonder piece of paper, and I'm going to just work around that photo layer, then adding some other papers in, including a layer of vellum. And I'm going to put this onto some black cardstock, but then I changed my mind after, but you'll see that happening. I think the black is just a little bit too much. I thought I wanted just a little pop of black behind there, but it actually doesn't really complement the photo mat, I don't think anyway. So I'm just going to add a little bit of texture to the edges of that paper, folding it up a little bit. And I'm also going to add some Distress ink and pumice stone, I think it is what I'm going to use here, just to add a little bit more of a definition to the edges of that paper. And then I'm going to mount the photo on that. So just going to continue working on that photo layer a little bit. And eventually I'll get that stuck down to the layout. I just love this picture of the kids. I have no idea what was going on there, why we took the picture, but I think I just probably was wanting to take a picture of them, I guess. I don't think it was for any specific reason other than I wanted yet another photograph of them. And what I used to do with all of my photos is I used to, in the summertime, I'd print all of the photographs and then I'd put them into albums. And then I kind of did the bulk of it once a year and then just scrap them from there. So yeah, I'm just going to take my Stampin' Up! Distress tool here. I'm just going to distress the edges of that a little bit. And you'll see me drop my a big bunch of glue all over my layout here pretty soon, but I just wipe it up with a wet wipe. But I'm gotta love it when that happens. So I'm just going to take that pumice stone and edge this paper, and this is that paper from Pink Paisley Memorandum that I was talking about at the beginning of the video, and I'm going to just go around the edges of that. And I later trim off some of the paper and forget to re-ink some of the edges, so that's awesome. But anyway, it looks fine. You actually don't even notice it because I end up mounting that on some black paper after anyhow. So I'm going to just stick this down and start building my layers for the rest of the layout. So I just wanted to take this polka dot paper, which is Pink Paisley Memorandum also, and I want to just center that on that other paper. So I'm just going to lay that down in a centered justification there, and then I'm going to start building the rest of the layers on top of that. So you'll see that I'm going to start sticking these down, and there is a layer of craft foam that I'm going to use just to pop up the whole photo layer, and that's where I end up getting some glue all over the place. So I put some glue on the back of the foam and I end up dropping it, which the glue goes everywhere, but hey, that's why you keep wet wipes. That's why you keep wipes on your craft desk, because I just grabbed a wipe and wiped it up and it was gone. That was it. So then I'm just going to continue working on that photo mat and getting that down and building the other colors in my color palette. So the blue, green, and the pink. So I'm just offsetting those papers just a little bit, just so that you can see them a little bit better. And I did put that Maggie Holmes Bloom paper as one of the layers with the text on it. I think it says Happy Memories or something like that on it. And you can see how that foam just adds a nice little pop to that photo layer. And I really like adding vellum to my photo layers. I think it looks good. It's just an extra little piece of texture in the layer for the mat. And now I'm just going to work in some of this Chamel paper, and it's that pretty blue-green kind of a color that's in the photo. I'm just going to add that pumice stone around the edges again. I'm just feeling to make sure that all of that glue actually dried, but you can't even feel it on there now. And you get this down there and keep rolling. So I want to create the spot for the photo kind of over to the side, and I'm going to build some layers, some clusters around that. Now I just took some paper that has little black hammers on it. That's pink paisley also, and just to add a little bit of black in there. And you know, the reason why I did that initially was because I had, and you'll see this, I put a journaling card on here that had a little bit of black, and I have a black camera ephemera bit that I wanted to use. So I wanted to put that black on there as well. I just want to bring that green into the bottom a little bit as well. So I just put a little bit of a strip of that green paper. I could also have let the green paper stick out at the bottom. I could have put it over top of my other strips of paper down there, or I could have had it poking out. But I didn't really want that. I wanted the strips that go across the bottom, the camera and that pink paper, to just sort of perform the role of the base for the bottom part, the bottom section of the main part of the mat that I'm doing there, if that makes sense. So I'm just going to stick down some of those different strips of paper, and then it'll just be doing some clustering after that. And I'll just tell you, I ended up doing 3 cluster areas just to create a bit of a triangle on the layout, and you'll see me working on creating those clusters here in a minute. So I've got the photo layers all matted and, all stuck down. And now I've got those strips stuck down. So I'm going to start working on those clusters. And the first part of a cluster that I have is a tag from Crepe Paper Wonder, and I just wanted to ink the edges of that too, and I'm going to add a little bit of baker's twine to that hole at the top of the tag in the reinforcement there, and just stick that in there. I liked how the black and white baker's twine looked, just to bring that pop of black over to that side a little bit. And just going to stick that tag down on that side because I'm going to create a cluster over there on that side of the photo. And I really love that Crepe Paper Wonder collection too, and I have quite a bit of it, and it doesn't work as well. I haven't found it working as well for me with the pictures that I've been using for the kids when they're older. But I mean, I could, because lots of the pattern papers are, they don't have anything on them that necessarily indicates children. But this is a perfect layout for using that's for sure, for all the little embellishments and stuff that are kind of child oriented. So this is that journaling card that I put it on here, and I complete the layout, and I'm like, oh, I just don't like that journaling card on there. I don't like how it looks at all. It just looks so out of place. It's there's a lot of off-white and cream on here on this layout, and it was really stark white, and then it's got those plus signs on it that I don't really have any other spot where there's plus signs. I don't know. There was just something about it, I guess, a combination of things that I didn't really like. So I end up taking it off later. So I'm just going to take some of the ephemera bits from that Crepe Paper Wonder collection, and I'm going to continue to build on that tag. So I just take one of those little masks, and I don't know if it looks like a teddy bear or something like that, and it's the perfect color. And then I take a little tag or a little ticket that's yellow, and I'm going to put that there. So I'm just going to layer those, and I end up putting a little heart puffy sticker over on that ticket a little bit later. So I'm just trying to get the right placement of those pieces. I do use some foam dots to pop things up there a little bit, just to give it a little bit more dimension on the layout. Now this camera, I love that piece, and I haven't found a spot for it on any of my layouts yet. So I just thought this was perfect, and just a way to bring that black up to the top. And then I'm just going to put a few other little embellishments around it. So I'm bringing the pink up there with that little ephemera bit, that little die cut. And it says, I think it says hello on it. And I'm going to add just a few other little bits and pieces up at that cluster at the top. So that's the second cluster that I'm working on there. There's a little gap there. There was kind of like a little bit of trap space between the journaling card and that pink die cut. So I put that felt heart in there. And then I'm just going to add a little star there. And that's all from the Crepe Paper Wonder Collection, from that ephemera pack that came with, I think maybe it was in one of the hip kits, I'm not sure. And so you can see that I'm pointing to that third area there where I want the third cluster to be, just to create that triangle. So I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to have that journaling on that journaling card. I want to make sure that this third cluster is low enough so that I have room for all of the different journaling that I want to do in that space. So I'm just going to work on this and create the cluster with, once again, some more of those bits and pieces from the Wonder Collection. But I end up changing this after, but I'll show you here. It'll just be in a few seconds. So there's going to be a transition, and then the voiceover is going to be done, and I'm going to come on live again at the end just to explain what I did with the layout. So while you're watching me finish this up, I'm just going to say again, thanks so much for joining me, and make sure you check out Kelly Barron's video for this episode of our Scrap the Challenge, and see what she does with the whole idea of, you know, starting out your layout with the idea of how you're going to use color, and what sort of principles of color and the color wheel and the principles of design and all that sort of good stuff you're going to employ as you're working on the design for your layout. So I just really loved these little critters and these puffy stickers, and I loved how there was an and I love that you know, this layout is about Jordan and Bailey and being friends and having a good relationship as brother and sister. And so I put the one little critter, and then the ampersand, and then the other little critter, and then I used the other little puffy sticker that says you and me up at the top in that cluster by the camera. And you'll see that when I show you the finished layout. I'm just going to put a little bit of yellow color shine on here from Heidi Swap. And I'm going to put a little bit of, I'm going to put that black paper layer around the entire back of the layout to frame it in. So I am going to attempt to put this happy chipboard piece as the title, and I do use it, but I do end up changing the placement a little bit. So stick around and you'll see what I did to change the layout before it's all done. I decided on the title Happy for this spot here. And, you know, I had that journaling card here, but something wasn't quite right about it. I just didn't like the balance of everything. It was just, it felt like there was too much in that space. So I took that out and I just did my journaling on my computer, and I just cut that into journaling strips there. And then I just used some black paper with some white writing on it for the edge. And it's cool because it talks about being together, better when we're together, I adore you, always better when we're together, etc. And that's sort of the theme of the layout, and journaling about them, the two of them being pals. So that's about it. You can see my color scheme now that I'm all done. I stuck with the green, the blue green, and the yellow and the pink. And I've just taken my edges of my paper and I've just lifted them just a little bit here and there just to create a little bit more texture on the layout. So that's it for today, guys. Thanks so much for joining me, and have a great day. Bye-bye.